How's it going, folks? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to talk to you guys about the third EP from 2009 by Blood on the Dance Floor, which is Extended Play. So the two before this were Ice Cream EP, and then the OMFG Sneak Peek that was supposed to be a preview to OMFG that was supposed to come out late in 2009. But this came out like after the OMFG Sneak Peek, and basically, this is, to my knowledge, the final project that has Garrett Ecstasy on there. Now, originally he was going to be on Oh My Fucking God, the album, but it got scrapped between like Davi's arrest in the middle of 2009. And then on top of that, like just the concept that Garrett kind of didn't like what he was seeing from Davi at the time. So that's kind of the concept there. Like, but he was with I mean, he had made like this was basically like his fourth project with Davi. Like, I think he was on like It's Hard to Be a Diamond in a Rhinestone World. He was on Ice Cream, Oh My Fucking God, Sneak Peek, and then this project. So it's kind of, there were a number of projects that they had done, and I'm pretty much always going to wonder what the OMFG album would have been like. I just wonder about that. I think Epic is a pretty sizable project in its own right, and I would like to get to that. Just the problem with why I haven't reviewed that yet is just because, based upon the difficulty, because this computer that I'm doing this on is not powerful enough to really shift through a YouTube playlist to listen to 22 songs on here. So it's kind of difficult, is because my other computer doesn't have speakers. So it's just kind of, I mean, that's the concept behind it. So I would like to review like uh, Epic, but the concept behind it, just because it's kind of space wise, it's difficult, and it's not on streaming services. So it's just kind of, it's been a delay with it, but I just feel like this is simple enough to kind of get in motion. This is a really this is a really kind of scant project. I mean, I'm just going to say ahead of time, it has basically two songs, which is just Crunk Man and then Beat It, the Michael Jackson tribute, because basically Michael Jackson died in the summer of 2009. This came out like a week or two later, and it was a tribute to Michael Jackson. But really, I do feel like I like both the songs on this project, so you would think it would get an easy 10 out of 10, just because if I like 2 for 2 out of the projects that we got here, you would think it would just get a perfect score, but it's not going to, just because I really don't feel like EPs should ever be 2 songs. Like 3 songs possibly, but anything shorter than 3 or 4 songs is really not an EP as much as just like a single release. Because when you drop a single, like they used to drop singles to radio back in the day, and it was just kind of like, when you think of like Biggie's One More Chance remix, it probably had a B side on there that was like an extra song that you got. There was an A side, which is the lead single, and then there'd be a B side, which is like a secret song that in a lot of cases the B side doesn't really make it on like the album. And that's just kind of the concept, where it's just, there are artists who've done like B sides that are not on albums even today. But this really just feels like a single release as opposed to an EP. They're both good songs. Like, I will say Crunk Man is an easy kind of going, just like leftover from like It's Hard to Be a Diamond in a Rhinestone World, or Ice Cream, Ice Cream. Just, I really appreciated like the real kind of furious kind of tempo that this song kind of had. Great hook, this real kind of blisteringly quick tempo kind of beat that it had just amongst that. And I really appreciated just the execution of how well Blood on the Dance Floor club songs kind of turn out. It's just a simple one to kind of have, and it just, Davi and Garrett having that combination is just another sure shot victory for them. Yeah, the problem with it is there needed to be another song or two like this, because I do feel, I mean, Crunk Man, just great title, great topic, great kind of concept of being like a hit club song, and just kind of going crazy in the hook and that type stuff. Just kind of, yeah, I definitely feel like Crunk Man is just a light kind of a light version of like a club song that can be kind of high mid tempo, low up tempo kind of song, this easy kind of dance bop in like a certain sense. I mean, I really feel like this dance clubs, I just wonder some of the music that they pick up if they're just playing songs like Kryptonite, and like songs like Usher's Yeah, and some of that type stuff, just classic hits, or what they're picking up, party rock anthem, Sexy and I Know It, that type stuff. Because I feel like Blood on the Dance Floor has just made like consecutive kind of hits with this sort of fashion, and just to be able to say that for the various nights where it's not just about like the lead singles or like the number one place second singles, like the second singles that hit number one and that type stuff. I feel like Blood on the Dance Floor just consecutively kind of does songs that are meant for dance clubs and can be kind of seen as such, but they're so low key it just feels kind of odd to wonder if they would even make like airplay in like a standard club. I mean, the DJ or whoever the promoter of like the organization would have to be really fit to kind of find songs like this and say, hey, let's throw on Crunk Man and get that started. But it is an excellent song and beat, and the hook is great too. It's just I really appreciated like the kind of bedrock from Young Money sounding kind of beat in there, and it just really kind of feels like that kind of vibe, just easy kind of going with that. And Beat It, the Michael Jackson tribute, definitely is another one. I mean, both of these are hit songs, but this is a big reason why I would have liked there to have been more punch on extended play, is because Beat It was surprisingly effective just in how it kind of contributed to the fact of talking about a Michael Jackson song that was already a number one song. It was a huge Michael Jackson song, in case you don't really know about it. I mean, the beat, and especially the intro to that song, is pretty distinct. Just an easy kind of, when you think of songs from the 1980s, this is easily a song that you think of for the most part. And Davi Vanity and Garrett Ecstasy turned Beat It, which was an 80s definitive tune, into like a 2010s kind of dance club, kind of mid rave kind of hit song. And that just kind of happened to be a thing where I feel like in a light sense, the original Beat It kind of was like a club song, or at least like a mild dance song, if it's like in like some sort of street kind of Broadway kind of dance type thing, something like that, like a musical. This feels like a musical song, and kind of just, I mean, Michael Jackson had intentions for it, but obviously dance clubs back in the 80s were just different. They had like the hair metal and that type stuff. Really, that was a rock kind of pop song, so that was kind of how that went. But the Blood on the Dance Floor version of Beat It really kind of has like an easy going kind of dance tempo towards it, and it's not quite as like signature as Crunk Man is, but I do like the energy behind it as far as trying to say, yeah, it's just a lot more kind of dance club oriented. I mean, it's not quite as rave induced, but I do feel like, I mean, both of these are just really kind of mid tempo. I don't want to say mid in terms of quality, but they're just very mid tempo kind of dance club beats that get the job done, but are not really quite as furious as they normally would be. And I think that that's kind of the concept about it. Like, I mean, the energy is there, but it's not quite as crazy as like what it might be. I mean, for a number one single like that, you would think that, but I mean, just it's just so effortless the way that Blood on the Dance Floor kind of did this song, was able to make it and turn it from like an 80s kind of stockpile song into like a 2010s kind of, hey, this is kind of lit all over again type moment. I mean, it almost kind of became, you'd almost think maybe if it would have gotten like 6, 7, 8 times more popular, it could have been seen as like a one of Blood on the Dance Floor's true standouts in a lot of ways. I just think that that's kind of the concept. They both did excellent. I mean, both these songs went hard. They both did excellent jobs, but it's just kind of the concept that I really felt like, just kind of being able to say like a single would have helped. I just think it could have used a little bit more beef towards it to really help straighten this out. Like I said, this feels like a single release, and just kind of a very scant, very, very scant type atmosphere about it. Like, I really wouldn't be able to see this project being sold for like $12 or something, or $10 even, just because there's only two songs. I mean, I feel like you can't really call it a project when there's just a very bare minimum two songs on here. So that's just kind of the concept. So I'm gonna give this EP out of 10 an 8.5 out of 10, where I did like both the songs. I felt like they were pretty excellent and had a nice dance tempo about them, and got the job done. I feel like a couple derailments from it was just the fact that, so a couple derailments from this project is just the fact that it basically does not have like enough emphasis. And that's really kind of the thing, is I feel like the two songs are really good, but the thing about it is it just does not have like, it really would have been pretty simple to have included, like, I mean, at the rate that Blood on the Dance Floor was doing songs, I know Davi is a real lunatic with getting songs out and that type stuff. I'm just surprised that they couldn't have put like a third, fourth, and even fifth song on here and just had like an extra bit of juice, sold as like a miniature CD and then put out like OMFG in like October 2009, something like that. It just would have been, I mean, I know that this was kind of the amalgamation of where Javon Monroe was kind of coming into the picture, but I don't know. I just felt like I want to say it was kind of truncated in a lot of ways, just because like the concept of what they were trying to do, there was just a lot of stuff that was kind of left unfinished and like more selling dreams more so than actually getting the stuff out. And I just feel like between like what Davi Vanity was trying to do throughout 2009, I mean, I know he had a lot of plans for it, but it's just kind of like, damn, because I just wonder the Garrett Ecstasy Blood on the Dance Floor versus the Javon, because there were some songs that they did also with Jeffree Star that would have been really kick ass to kind of seen. That is kind of the concept. There's just a number of things that kind of happened with Blood on the Dance Floor that kind of the it kind of caved in and they didn't wind up happening. But then that was kind of a problem, just kind of failed promises, things that were supposed to happen and didn't. And then the other thing about it is like the energy just was very kind of straightforward. I would have felt like it's like, why didn't they have more than two songs? I mean, Crunkman is a great song, but it's just kind of, they can get a lot crazier, and I'm surprised that they don't do it. And then Beat It is a good dance song, but I mean, I do feel like both of these just don't have the punch to back by themselves as far as saying that this could be effective. I mean, it's just kind of, to me, it's just like a shot in the arm, kind of like your very brief Loud Pack, considering this project lasts for about 7 minutes, and that's just kind of the concept. So it's just odd that they didn't want to put more oomph and emphasis into it, just because, I mean, they're pretty much pros at doing club records, dance club records, rave records, but I do feel like as far as that goes, the energy is just not quite as ravenous and quite as exuberant as it normally would be. And it just, I mean, the energy is there, and they were having a good time on these two songs, but it still kind of feels like it's just not quite as furious. Like, you just question, well, why wasn't there more to this? So yeah, I'm gonna give this, like I said, 8.5 out of 10. The social score, I'll give a 7, just because both these songs are good, but it's just kind of like, I think that this record might be a little bit difficult to get a hold of for one thing, and then even then you're only getting two songs. So I mean, it this is kind of like, I wouldn't know the price of this project if you're really just paying $4, because you would think a 2-song EP would only be worth like 3 or 4 or $5, considering that you can get like some 6 or 7-song EPs for like $5. That's just kind of the concept about it. So it's just kind of, I wouldn't know the angle of the price for it. I mean, it just would assume that you would just buy this digitally, just because both songs probably cost like $1.29 or 99 cents or something. But that's just kind of the concept. So 7 social. In terms of the future, like Blood on the Dance Floor, like Davi's been still dropping spare songs and that type stuff, and Blood on the Dance Floor has albums up to late 2019, and then he did a couple of things with like Kawaii Monster and some of that type stuff. There's spare stuff. There's plenty still more to review. There's plenty still more to review, and I want to get some more of these. I mean, eventually I am going to get to Epic, but just kind of understand that there is some pretty contagious stuff from Blood on the Dance Floor, and it's just good. But this record, like, the biggest bullseye gaping weakness about this project is, as good as this project was, this is short, way too short and sweet. It's way too scant. It's really just like the briefest project I've basically seen in a long time. So yeah.